for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Awareness Day, July 6th, 2023.
I am very appreciative of this gesture. It means a lot because we do have such a small Indigenous community here in Iowa City, but yet this issue has no boundaries. And so, you know, it very well could affect somebody here, regardless of whether or not we have a large Indigenous community. You know, Iowa, we like to think that, you know, bad things aren't happening here to Native people, but they happen all the time.
I got something to say. I want to say, I truly thank you for being here. I thank you for standing up for what you feel is right. I thank you for being the advocate for this type of thing, because it happens. And when we're talking about race, I would like in return for this not only to be about Indigenous people, but all people, because just last year we went through the same thing when our community faced the black leaders in this community going through calling us coons and niggas. So I'm going to stand for you. I've always stood for anything that had any negative approach on anybody, but in response, we want to see the same thing. So it should be for all people, Indigenous, whoever. So I respect you and love that you're on TRC, you speak out or whatever, but it has to be reciprocated.
What?
It has to be reciprocated.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
This, how can,
if you
saying that this should be about all people is saying that this is like all lives matter.
No, sweetie, when it comes to race, when it comes to being people putting us out there as well.
So we're talking about the missing and murdered Indigenous women's
no, ma'am.
crisis right now. That's why I'm here today.
You're taking it another way. I've said what I've said, and I respect you and truly adore your advocacy, but I'm just stating for race, period.
Can I get the thing? Do I get the proclamation?
Yeah, you
okay,
do.
thank you. Can somebody hand that to me?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is very upsetting, and I'm
sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. If you get upset,
this is not like an all persons thing right now. This is about like a missing and murdered Indigenous women's issue.
It really is. And you just asked us. I'm just saying, you asked us to, you know, we stand with you. We're not. It's not nothing. Nothing stating that I'm stating is against you. I'm just saying, race, period, how everybody is treated, how we as black people are treated in this community as well.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, like that's understandable. But right now we're trying to talk about a specific issue, and like we can't just make it like, we can't just like, we have to be specific about what we're talking about.
Right. You're absolutely true. You're right.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Sakawas. Appreciate your time and awareness.
Trans Day Visibility Statement.
Yeah, thank you. I put this on the agenda, or asked to have it put on the agenda. So I'll just go ahead and read it, and then this is meant for discussion. So the Johnson County Board of Supervisors recognizes that transgender rights are human rights. The board believes in the importance of celebrating the lives of transgender people, and in 2023 issued a proclamation of support for Transgender Day of Visibility. This year, the board is taking a different path. Instead of releasing a proclamation, we are recognizing the direct harm that transgender residents are experiencing in our county and creating a pathway for collaborative action. We would like to extend an opportunity to the transgender community to discuss how we can address harm and reduce barriers in our county. Working with two supervisors, the board invites transgender community members to work with us to co-create a list of actionable solutions to present to the full board by June 1st, 2024. The following is a preliminary list of priority areas we would like to focus on. Enacting policies to ensure people are addressed by their chosen name and pronouns in county services and facilities. Designating Johnson County as a safe place for gender expansive people. Increasing resources allocated to gender inclusive housing. Providing funding to direct aid organizations like Iowa Trans Mutual Aid. Supporting access and distribution of gender inclusive books and other media that is restricted in public schools. Ensuring our inclusive economic development efforts include support for LGBTQ+ businesses. Promoting civic engagement and political participation by gender expansive youth. We encourage all residents to honor Transgender Day of Visibility on March 31st. And we ask everyone in Johnson County to use their voices and exercise their power by taking actions that protect our trans community. We endeavor to lead by example.
I know you talk about transgender, and I have to talk about the black people and the marginalized in my community. Why is it you're making this only for all this is about transgender people only. One subgroup, this to me, it's really, this is not right. Black people in our community go through the same things, marginalized, it's all kind of different things happening in our Black community. And I don't understand how this becomes the county's problem. I mean, we could, as far as all this is about transgender. You've singled out transgender from everybody else. Why?
Because there's direct harm that's happening to the transgender community, and it does not preclude any subcommittee being created for the Black Americans in Johnson County. If you want to create that, let's create it. It's not to take away. It's in addition to, it's just shining a light on, it's taking that moment. It's not a scarcity mindset here. It's actually something that's just trying to focus. So if you want to create a subcommittee that's focused on Black Iowans in Johnson County, I fully would support that.
This is amazing. After just in October, just for the past couple of years, even you, Rod, I'm so disappointed that we would sit here. And you're talking about people being harmed. Me personally, I was harmed. I serve on this board.
Yeah,
I was harmed. Yet, Rod, you said nothing. You stood up for nothing. Nobody did anything when we were called coons, the Black leaders in our community called coons and niggers. And you talked to me one-on-one and you told me how you felt. But for you to sit up and talk about a working group and a committee and people were being aimed at, targeted, we were targeted.
and that absolutely would support creating a group that would investigate some of the ways in which we can do similar work.
But I don't think,
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that.
Rod,
It wasn't, nobody,
please stop. Please stop, Rod.
nobody said,
Please
well,
stop,
no, I'm
Rod.
not gonna, I get.
You need to. You
I
should
get to-
stop. Because what you're doing now and what I've seen in the past, you haven't done it. You didn't support us. We as Black people in this community, you did not. And you say Orville is your friend. And Orville was hurt by what happened. So we've experienced it. I've experienced harm myself. And I never expected anybody from Johnson County to come up with subcommittees or whatever. All I wanted was support.
But we should.
Why
shouldn't
not?
we?
Why not? Now you want to come up with something?
We've done this before. I
What
think
you've done?
we did the very similar thing where we had long conversations with both. I think I can think of 2 times where we did this, where we had groups, ad hoc groups that were created. One started working with Sudanese immigrants and one started working with Spanish speaking immigrants, held both at the Center for Worker Justice, and came away with certain things that could become actionable, one of which turned into our community ID program. So it's not like everything that they talked about what became codified, but there was an idea that came out of it that got some legs and turned into what I think is a good thing. So I guess I agree with you. I don't see why having one means you can't have 2.
There's always more work to do. And so this is just asking for a focus. And if there was other groups that want to be created, I would love to be a part of that, to help support that. There's more harm in our community that we can certainly address. This is just simply asking for a focus and then outline some of the things that have been requested from the community. And obviously we live in the state of Iowa, and there have been, over 50 bills introduced in the state in the last 2 years, and directly harming youth, directly, impacting families.
20 years ago, we did a group because we felt there was a need for seniors, and we got the Johnson County Livable Community program specifically to address senior issues that grew out of a task force. I mean, I think this has happened a lot of times.
All right, so the intent here is to get this working group.
I guess the big question we need to know from the board right now is, do we want to start creating said committee or not? So I'm in favor.
We knew that.
Well, I just need to make sure there's 3 people in
You got
favor.
3.
We
You
don't do
got
it.
you, John, and V.
Well, I'm
So
asking.
why ask me and Lisa? You already got 3. I don't even know why you have to put this on the agenda. You should have just did it.
Well,
Right now, what I'm thinking of is inclusivity, all of Johnson County. This has nothing to do with one set of people, transgender. It's inclusivity, diversity, equity. Y'all talk about that all the time, but you really don't understand what it means. There's no way. There's no way. I'm trying so hard. I'm just gonna shut up because my mouth gets me in trouble all the time. But I'm gonna speak my mind, and y'all know I'm gonna say what I gotta say, but this is bullshit. You can call it what you want to call it, and you can say what you want, and you can call it subcommittees and putting committees together, but this has nothing to do with us.
well, who's us?
I do think it has everything to do with how we as leaders at the county are addressing them in our community. And it doesn't have to be,
But you only addressing one subcommittee, one subgroup of people.
Yeah.
LB.
and there's
This
nothing wrong
right
with
here is
that.
all about one
There's
subgroup of
nothing
people.
wrong with that. What's to
It
say
is something wrong
tomorrow?
with this picture.
Tomorrow, let's have another committee. Let's focus on something. It doesn't have, we can
We
do it
have
on
livable
affordable housing.
communities
We
for
can-
seniors.
There's,
Nobody's fought about that.
I do think that there needs to be addressed that this does not take away from anything.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. And not one suggestion to even talk about it. No, ma'am.
Like
Nothing.
back in October. we
Yeah,
suggested
absolutely.
something.
Yes, October, yes, and a year and a half ago with city council, where it all started a year and a half ago. Then it flared back up last October, and not one time have anybody ever said anything. Not one time, not one person on this board. None.